Good afternoon, y'all. Welcome. It is Friday, May 1st. It's going to be May 2026. Welcome. It is new all-time highs yet again. Let's get right into the doc. A lot going on as usual. Interesting show as well. We have been talking about what's been running up the market here. And let's just go through it. We're going to recap the day, the week. Of course, month end was yesterday. Today we started a new one, hence it's going to be May in singing. Today we'll recap, as I said, what's going on in the first half of the session here. Very low volume. We are actually slated to be bottom 10 volume day of the past year. Bottom 10 on slated on pace for 40 million shares or so of SPY, which will put it bottom 10 of the past 52 weeks. So that's okay, though. It's bull market stuff. Today, Bitcoin, silver, and tech is what they're loving. Tech making all-time highs. Silver we'll take a look at as well. Bitcoin at 78K. Those are having multiple standard deviation moves today. They are gobbling those up today at the all-time highs. And there we go. New all-time highs for. That's the list. Qs, the NASDAQ, SPY, South Korea, tech as a sector, semiconductors, and Taiwan. I've been talking to you since we got right above the 200-day moving average, and we'll look at the chart. The way I've been playing the rally to the upside has been semis and Taiwan, and I'm very happy to see the system is right and it's working, and Taiwan and semis are there making yet again all-time highs. So that's how I've been playing the rally, and it's making all-time highs yet again here. And that's the list for right now. So let's, and really when you zoom out this week, it's pretty interesting. Yes, the S&P added 1.5% this week. But when you zoom out, what really happened was rare earth metals. That's my new addition. I bought that one yesterday. And this morning we bought more Korea actually on the way up. So pyramiding up. The portfolio has been doing very well with the rally. Of course, all-time highs. And we're playing lots of different pieces of the market. So really a 7% jump here in the rare earth metals and oil, and a 7% decline in the gold miners. So these were the areas that really were in focus this week. Let's get to the charts here. Of course, Apple, there's a lot going on. Earnings was the big Super Bowl, of course. For traders. Go Sixers, by the way. Big win yesterday. Got a game 7 tomorrow. We believe in unbelief. That was absolutely insane. Go Sixers, game 7. Who knows what happens, but you got to get there. Q's up 1%. Tesla up 3%. Micron, my goodness, one of the best stocks in a long time. Up almost 3%. Apple, after earnings, up 4%. They crushed it there. Market loves it. Intel up another 4%. One of the biggest engines of this whole semis rally is Intel, believe it or not, especially with the government stake in it. Look at the little sticker on your laptop. You gave a little bit of money towards it too. But an amazing run. Amazon closing in basically at all-time highs, up 1%. Microsoft up 1%. AMD up 1%. They love the semis today, as I said. Palantir up a big 4%. Oracle up nearly 8%. And we'll close that there. So here was the open right here, and they loved it from the start, right from the beginning, 721. They ripped it all the way to 724. The all-time high peak came at around breakfast, a little bit later than breakfast time here, New York, local Eastern Atlantic time. 10 a.m. was the all-time high. We clocked in at basically 725 in SPY. And to be honest, it pretty much whimpered 30 minutes after that. We couldn't really hold VWAP going into that, and holding after that was 723. And we held the line until noon, and then we really kind of gave it up there at about 35 minutes ago. And now our new floor is trying to be 722. We'll see if we're gravitated towards 723 or we surpass above that, and do we close in and those institutions get those orders in, especially during that important power hour of 3 to 4 o'clock, and say, get me in. I got to get in before the weekend. Usually it's kind of the reverse. You don't want to hold longs into the weekend because of geopolitical risk, et cetera, et cetera. But now it's almost the opposite due to the FOMO. Folks would rather be in before missing. Of course, we're already at 722 here in SPY. As I zoom out, so that was on the day. Again, really low volume, slated for bottom 10 of the past year on pace for 40 million shares of SPIZZLE, also known as SPY. So again, SPY for me, these candles look absolutely amazing. The floor here for SPY, just ballpark that Helen Keller could see from the eye of the former breakouts, about 690. Let me get here. We'll get a little bit more math. We'll go to math it up a little bit more since Helen Keller is, I guess not a quant. Around 698 here I'm seeing, with a lot of moving averages here, not to, get into it. But 698.99 here looks like this new floor here. And folks were saying before, look at that. This was the area that we've struggled with it for so long, essentially since Halloween, the prior NASDAQ all-time high. It looks like to me, going forward, will be your new all-time highs. Look at this period of overbought since April 16th. You've had 2 weeks of extreme bullishness. I think that's where we're going to head towards in about the next week or so. I think the market, as we said before, will have to correct more so in time instead of price. I think the floor on this looks like to be somewhere visitation towards 697 over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Yes, it seems gross because that is 25 points away, or about 3%. Folks will say, oh, that's the rug pull. That was the top. These hyperscalers are spending too much, blah, blah, blah. But that will probably be your new structural floor and will probably, in hindsight, be an absolutely perfect time to buy as this market zooms and tries to head towards. My target has been 7,400 for, end of summer, like Labor Day. And I tell you right there, that top Bollinger Band is usually indicative of a much nearer term forecast, in terms of the volatility expansion and, potential targets. This thing could be looking at, I don't think right here, I think it does have to consolidate a little bit, like I said, inside of 3% over the next till, mid-May. Maybe you get those crazy doldrums of, sell in May and go away type stuff. We'll break 700 psychological, ooh la la la. And then I'll tell you, that'll probably be a great position to go higher as we go even higher towards, I know Tom Lee said 7,700 for the S&P this year. Wowee. It's crazy. The war is still going on. Hormuz is going to take about a year to restructurally build out. I'm hearing from like the CEOs of Coke and Shell, and the market's just swallowed up and had a 3-week 10% correction and said, shh, get out of my way. Kind of like Embiid has done to Tatum and Pritchard and all those. So let's get into what they're buying today. There's a couple of spots. Hopefully you own them if you're long. As I said today, yesterday I bought rare earth metals. I bought more Korea today. I bought wheat earlier this week. My biggest positions, not even close. How I'm playing it is Taiwan and SMH and EWT, and we're up double-digit % on the year. Right here, the biggest gainer on the day by standard deviation. If you have a ticker or something, put it in, and I'll take a look. Is IBIT up 2 1/3% today? It's interesting where capital finds different leaders or laggards, right, at all-time highs in terms of the general market. So this is a very interesting spot for Bitcoin, okay? Equivalent 78K for the actual coin here. So higher lows, you'll love to see that since the bottom on February 5th. Let me make sure I'm doing a screen share. Otherwise, I feel like a big dum-dum. Okay, bang. So the bottom was about over here, about a week before Valentine's Day. Ugly RSI, a Valentine's Day massacre, although it was 9 days before, but whatever. I want to use it poetically, I guess. $35 here for the bottom. Rolling 200-day moving average. This thing has been absolutely sick since before Thanksgiving. So this has been in the dirt for quite a while. Why I'm saying it's interesting here is a very so this $45 level, essentially we're at 44.34. Gaps tend to get filled, not always, but now you're going back to this Jan 30th massive gap down when it was opening the next day, down 7% for whatever reason that day. We're headed towards that level. Where I think here is, I want to see hold. Honestly, I want to see similar to what the S&P did at 700. That's struggling for months and months of trying to close in on it. I want to see this $45 level hold. It would basically equivalent for 80K in Bitcoin. I want to see $45 hold for IBIT for just 2 to 3 weeks. I don't need it to do crazy things. It's had a good rally. I want it to have these moving averages go higher. Digest them healthy, and then maybe fulfill this gap. And as you see here, there's a lot of price discovery here at the $48 level. Then you start to carve out more of a correction. I still think it's going to take a couple of months, but it is looking promising, and they're loving it today, up nearly 2.5%. Don't forget, immense resistance here at $53, $9 away. So this has its work cut out for at several levels. This is probably like a microcosm of the major markets. You get two pulled one way, and then it mean reverts the other way very, very violently. And I'm sure that's the way people are going to play Ether and Bitcoin. So again, on the day, Bitcoin, they sent it as high as 44.78. They sold it off a little bit from there, but it is holding VWAP, albeit by about 8 cents. We'll see if they sell it down into the afternoon and see how it trades this weekend. But a decent, very decent, good-looking day for Bitcoin at getting at a critical level here, closing in at essentially 3-month highs for Bitcoin. Very close. All right, number 2 thing they're buying. I've been recommending it. I will be at the StockTwit Cash Tag Awards on Monday. So if you're there, all that stuff, influencers, and I think there's like Tesla Investor Relations and Palantir. It's going to be cool. So let's get drinks. But my recommendation was silver, and silver having a also multiple standard deviation day today, up 3 and nearly 0.5%. So this was so what I was talking about with Bitcoin higher lows was encouraging. I don't really like to see this from the highs of late January. So what I've seen here is lower highs here, and then trying to carve out something and proving to me in mid-April, just 2 weeks ago, that's not ready for $75, and then a quick Dikembe swap down to 65. Still a rising 200-day moving average. Not a lot of traction above a 50 RSI. Lets me know the appetite for this is just not super right now. And of course, they're connected to semis, but semis is getting all the weight in the room. This is going to take a while, like as in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I think it still has to carve out a base. I like what I'm seeing today. VWAP 68.21, it's 70 cents above that. That's wonderful. It's actually at high of day right here, right now. I want to see this hold around $68 to $69, exactly where it is. If it holds this Monday, Tuesday, I do believe in 2 to 3 weeks, this will finally be at 70, getting back to that $75 point, where I do believe it'll likely not be ready, and then to get to Dikembe again. That's a nice move, $6 from here. If you believe that that is the case, you can go out and buy those August 75 calls. I would sell this month's 75 against it, always spread so you could sleep at night and help subsidize the trade. Otherwise, you can also sell those, sell the 64 puts. I don't think they're going to, generate a whole lot, but you could sell the May 64 puts in SLV. I think they're okay. Maybe test a little bit next week, not to the strike, but I do like that hold here a little bit lower at 62. And I like the candles here coming off of 64. So silver having a very good day. And then, of course, to new all-time highs. I've been saying it all the time. We invest in the future, and technology is basically the way we play the future in terms of investing in markets. Let's just be honest. So just overbought many times this year, May, June, pick the month of the calendar. And now we've been on this Shea Gilgeous-Alexander-like run for truly 2 weeks after getting to the nearly oversold point. You got to 29.6 oversold. That is oversold. Equivalent in spot, $127. Yikes. Today, new all-time highs, 162. I think is a red arrow back. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. And that's tech. Green every day since March 31st, except 2. That is just your score, just scoring 50 every day and saying, I could do it again, coach. This is emblematic of what I'm saying for the larger market, though. This has to come in just a little bit. But this a little bit different chart. We said the market with the levels it was toiling with before the prior highs. That level for this was 153. Yeah, I don't think it's going below that either. I would like to see it digest these massive gains over the next week, and I think it will take it to about a 151 to 153 level, and that will be your invitation to get back in tech. I don't think they're going to drop this thing much under 60 RSI. Long line for tech, and the earnings were overall very, very good and received well in the market. Okay, losers, guess what? This is going to be short. Bupkis, there's nothing lower today in a meaningful standard deviation way. Wow, that makes that easy. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days, and I got into this one, is REMX, and I believe this is new 52-week highs for REMX. I got in. It is up. It's the best performing ETF, up 7% this week, or more than 1% a day. It looks wonderful today. Great looking candle. This chart basically almost looks like gold. This thing had a hard time. Well, not a hard time, but it really started getting velocity in mid-July at this breakaway from $42, and now more than a 2-bagger from here. Not even thinking about getting close to its 200-day moving average. To me, near-term target, I know it sounds crazy because I bought on the breakout system, is honestly close to 106 to 108. This has had a great run of $97 in the past week and a half, and trees don't go to the sky. But inverse of what I said, sometimes prices have to correct in time versus price. This has to, appreciate in time versus price. So basically, essentially, what I'm meaning is it's going to stick these candles here, I think, create a high base. And then Pierce try to get to close to 110. So I think this has a bullish 2 weeks. I'm glad I pulled the always obeyed the system above 50 RSI since its breakaway above a rising 21-day exponential moving average at 89 spot. A lot of things looking right for this rare earth metals in the past 3 weeks, honestly, and beyond. I'm seeing a lot, especially in the past 3 weeks. And don't forget, prior place of price discovery for this had been 102. I suspect it's very possible that maybe the new floor, although this does have a little bit of volatility, so it's possible they swing it a little bit lower to about 99, and that'll be your invitation. I am in and enjoying the gains. That's the best trade of the week. It matched the gains in this next group, USO oil. We were talking about oil being up last week and the market saying, okay, cool, semis are going to go up just as much this week. S&P up another 1.5% on the weekend. Oil's up 7%. So you're seeing it at the pump, $5-6, wherever it is. I don't know. I'm sure in California it's like, I don't know. It's probably like a lot of, I was going to say a lot of Mets tickets, but it's not, New York versus California. It wasn't a solid. Mets tickets are like $4 for those that don't know. Oil. So I said before, if you believe in the chart, I'm looking at my notes here. I said this looks great. If you believe in the war, believe in the war. That sounds like a messed up Christmas story or something. Believe in the war. But September. So September. Right here, this candle called the Dragonfly Doji here looks absolutely wonderful. Massive, hammer basically on the 17th. And then once I said wait to buy into strength, be a little bit of a lazy trader for more higher conviction. So that happened on April 21st. I said, if you believe in the story, get in around 122. View off the day was 126. And this should head to about 145. We basically got market stretches almost all the time. It got to 152 essentially. So $7 above that target. I think this is a big candle for me today, down 3%. It's up 7% on the week, giving back half today. I think this may have been the short-term exclamation point on oil for right here. This was a massive rally, ultimately from 115 to 150. The ceasefire, whatever you want to say, is going on overseas. I'm not going to pretend to know what goes on over there week to week or weekend to weekend, whatever. But this looks like it will. I don't know if it's going to be immediately. Look for geopolitical news or whatever over the weekend and into next week, but. This looks like over the next 2 to 3 weeks, just like I saw the rally happening there, this looks like it wants to consolidate, and it's so volatile. So I would say like right around 132. I think this should shed about $10 or about 7% from here over the next 3-ish weeks. I don't think this is going to be the place to be for May. Something tells me, but we'll see. But this chart doesn't look. That looks like the trade that was there for the bounce off of the sell here. And again, beautiful hold, strong appetite for oil way before the war. This is holding 45 RSI going back to that Venezuela capture when we started 2026. So just amazing, and breaking the 200-day moving average. Everything going right for oil since the end of January. Absolutely stupendous. And then last one for the large movers. I bought more this morning. Anyang and Anyang again. South Korea up 5%. Love ya. It's so much fun to trade. It's just nuts. I suggest you get some and right size the position. It's wonderful. And yes, momentum cuts both ways. So this has gone a lot as well. My near-term target is right around like 165, a little bit more from here. But this would not surprise me at all if it just consolidates these massive gains over the next 1 to 2 weeks down to about this 148 level. So again, you always move your stops so you don't give away a ton of profits, and that's how you keep your your P&L ideally up. But ultimately, I do see this resting at about 148. It wouldn't shock me. That does seem significant from here. But again, this stock is just amazing, broken out to the top, and I think our new floor will probably be that new region between that 148 and 153. You can probably get paid well if you sell the 148 puts if you need some sort of bearish exposure. Otherwise, these are going to be really expensive if you buy like August 170 calls. So, check the position. It might even be worth it. New all-time highs for EWY, obviously. All right. Top 3 losers the past 5 days. Not everyone is feeling the love. The worst spot. Gold miners down 7.5% this week. For percent and change a day. Today doing essentially that, down 80 bips. It's looking, not so great. This chart has had significant resistance, no interest, investors having no interest, truly owning this above $102 since basically the week of the war, the week after the war, March 11th. So higher lows technically here, rising 200 moving average, no real traction at all above a 50 RSI, and the highs coming basically the week of the war, $117 on March 2nd. I think this is not a great looking week for it. Obviously, you were at $94 a week and a half ago, and then you pierced 86. Gold miners, I do think base early next week. Not a great looking candle today, but I do think that floor was put in there at 86 near term. I do think this bounces towards about 92 to 93. You could probably sell those 82 puts. Be careful. Sell, buy the 81s against it, obviously, because some of the stuff gets very volatile and you want to be able to sleep at night. I'm not so sure it is done to the downside. I might do another one of these from 87.5, go back to 86, and then make a move over a 2 week span to 92, 93 level. So you can sell the 82 puts, buy something against it. You can go out, doing the maze. Otherwise, I would wait on buying like the 93 August calls. Gold miners, the worst performing ETF this week, down 7.5%. Not the place to be. Number two, this is always interesting, volatility. Second worst performing, and it's an ETN, but I treat it in our class of 1X ETFs, down 5.5% this week. So 1% a day on average. Today doing just about that. Really, this is fear to me visualized, and the low here was the tranquility from Jan 9th, and the price for that was $25.64. We were getting very close. We're $2 away. This thing has just been bleeding. The last fearful day we had in the market was April 7th. That was the bottom for SPY, and we just look at these candles, just been bleeding every single day in volatility. That's the last time we had above a 50 RSI. It was really a massive vomit from volatility that day, April 7th to April 8th. What I think now happens, it's going to be a slow burn, I think, over the next 2-ish weeks. We're kind of almost regardless of what SPY does with the low volume and everything, the creep up it's doing, even it goes back to that new floor of 700. I think this will be a slow bleed for vol. RSI 38 on VXX too, just absolute pig. I think this is going to head towards about 27 even. So that's about another, 4% off of volatility over the next 2 weeks. May have a little bit of a hiccup and get towards, 30 and then going lower. But this thing looks like garbage. All right. And then number 3 worst performer of the week, home construction. We feature this and highlight this. I feel like often it's on the biggest movers. It's a straight, crack snort way to play the economy and rates. Is ITB. Tell me technicals don't mean anything. Look at this. This group peaked on September of last year at 118, and then boom, purgatory enters right here, the week of the war, March 5th under the 200 moving average. April 21st, just about a week and a half ago, it gets to the meerkatting right there. Let me meerkat, go Sixers. It gets right there on April 21st, and then gets to Kembade right back lower from 103 spot all the way to 95. When it sniffs the 200 moving average. So this is why I use these things. They're high probability setups. This, I believe, ITP will try and base in the next week. I don't think it's done yet. This looks like a Swiss cheese type support at this 95 level. I just don't trust it. And a brick wall at this 102.5. It is a brick wall of resistance. I think this bases over the next week. I wouldn't be shocked, though, to be honest, if they take this lower to about $93. It just doesn't look done to me. I think they want to break this wall and then head to here to 93. And honestly, if that breaks, I think it could head to 80, 89. It just doesn't look extremely strong to me. Home construction and a horrible week. I mean, third worst performing ETF, down 4%. Top 3 trades of the past 5 days. If you were short GDX, long REMX, I am now as of yesterday, and long USO, I am long DBO and OIH. Congratulations, you are killing the stock market. That's the top 3 ETF trades of the past 5 days. Now, probably my favorite part of the program. Top 3 trades of the past 52 weeks. What is absolutely crushing it? And these are durable, persistent stories that you have to allocate to, essentially. It's just a matter of how much. Number 1. EWY South Korea up 191%. It's why I have so much conviction. As soon as I see the pyramid trigger, I say, boom, immediately add. I did it this morning at highs, felt great about it, and it's still rewarding. Just really fast as I zoom out here, a little bit of a bearish divergence. Here we are, all-time highs, and you can't even scratch 68. of the RSI. Don't love to see that. Lets me know that sometimes there is quickly a fall back down to 147. So and that's $15 or so. And this, you know how this stuff moves. It can gap down 4%. Next day down 5%. It was right. You were right there, and then it starts going back. So give this. I mean, you do the breakout system like I did. Fantastic. It's 576 ATR. So 2 of those babies is basically we'll call it $12. You can get into this today right now if it breaks under 162 minus 12, which is 150. Get out. It's very likely dropping to 147. That's not a huge, hedge of risk. But that will differentiate what is noise and what is an actual tradable signal, and that's why you will obey the stops. Otherwise, enjoy the gains and then move your stops higher and higher. So that is EWY. Allocate to it is the AI memory trade, and it is just going higher and higher. Number 2, and this is crazy town. I typically don't feature because the volume is very low. But number 2, and yes, I'm featuring it now because I'm also in it, but this has been a flavor of the week and the year. REMX, these rare earth strategic metals. It's like it's a grab between China and the US and Russia and everything else. And it's a true scarcity story. And it's been having a big week, up 7%, a huge year. The yearly numbers up 182%. We already talked how to play it. Like I said, my near-term target is right around 106 to this 108 period. The ATR here is 360. Give you 2 buddies. 2 of those buddies, $7. Here's basically the break even. So essentially, hopefully you can enjoy the gains. You get in here, position size correctly, ideally, and voila, hopefully it goes higher. Otherwise, with those ATRs, it would drop you to 99, which is exactly the level that I would get out at. So basically, I think that's more than likely. But REMX, allocate to it. It's a stellar year. And then number 3, all-time highs right here. So understand, EWY all-time highs today, right now, and the top performing trade of the past year. That's momentum on a 12-month look back, plus, today, of course. And then the same thing for stocks right here. That is an all-time high, and this thing's been overbought. This is like the Foo Fighters playing Starland Ballroom, which, I did try to get tickets. Unfortunately, I could not be successful in that ever long. But this thing's been overbought since April 13th. Like truly overbought. It's at 75 now. It bounced up, just absolutely crazy. This was a gift. This down 3-4% day on April 28th. This is the stocks up 152% year over year. So again, this is how the market's being played in the past year. South Korea, due to their exposure to AI memory, rare earth metals, and a scarcity, grab from nations, kind of similar to what you've had with the gold exposure being gobbled up by central banks and everything going on with monetary policy. And then semiconductors with the AI boom needing the chips. So semiconductors, I think, may have, a very small pullback. I'm not sure if we see 415 again. The charts look like it should, and they'll have, this got way too overstretched. And maybe you'll have a 50-point reduction, but I'm not so sure. That's a very strong bounce of a 435. I'm glad I'm already long. All right. Have a absolutely wonderful weekend. Go Sixers. Game 7. Let's go. Best day in sports. Yes.